guess I'd have to tell you some good news. So there's that. We've talked about different things about the website. I'll tell you a little more about that. Also, if you want to give me a call, the number is 877-207-2276. I want to hear from you. Give me a call. We can blab and we can just talk. All right, all right. So I think that's all there is there with that. Looking for the Clubhouse stuff, but I don't see it, so no big deal. All right. So we have an official, I think I mentioned it last week, we have an official release date for the CARM website, and that's going to be October 25th, which is the 30-year anniversary of the website. And if one of the things that we want to do is have a radio show. I don't know what day of the week that is, actually. Um, let's see, October 25th is a Thursday, so that'd be good. And that's interesting. Okay, good. A couple things on that day. So that'll be the release date of the new site. Now, we've been playing with the new site. It is exceedingly fast. It has a lot of really good features that are under the hood that you probably won't ever come in contact with because you won't know that they're there. But there's going to be a just a lot of stuff, and I've been keeping notes because I want to put together I'm going to do a newsletter today and tomorrow, and get stuff together. It's a, be a very simple design, and it's going to maybe we're talking about having either by the time it's released or sometime afterwards have the ability that it can remember what articles you've been to on CARM and produce quizzes for you on the material you've read. We're going to be trying to get a tiered system in so that if you sign up, you can then transfer all your information to other, machines like your laptop, your phones, your desktops, whatever, with a login. And we're talking about maybe having some favorites and some other stuff. We don't know what's going to be released. We're still working on some details, but that's it. I'm going to try and get some new forums going as well. We're going to have dedicated video conferencing abilities. We're going to have all kinds of stuff. So the features that are behind the scene is a fast initial human verification system. Most people don't even know what that is, but it is the latest technology, and it helps secure your information, your system. So nothing on CARM will get onto your system. It's really kind of interesting how it's done. It's very good. Uh, so your data security is there. Sophisticated AI search integrated into every page. Your data protected from AI scrapers. New AI integrated search for things can be super fast. Oh man, it is fast. It really is. So the search results will have a progress bar for articles that you've read. It'll give you estimates of how long it takes to read an article. We're going to have a lot of stuff. That's just some of the things that we're talking about, and things change, but we are looking at that kind of thing. So if you have, this is really important. If you have any suggestions that you'd like to see on the new CARM site, what you could do is just email them to info@carm.org, info@carm.org. If there's something you'd like to see. Now, sometimes things are pretty easy to implement, and sometimes they're not. It's just how the nature of some things sometimes, and that's okay. But if you're interested in a feature, an ability, or something, send it to us because we're in the planning and executing stages. Now, the great majority of the work is already done on the site, but we want to implement as many new ideas and concepts and user-friendly this and that as we can. It's going to be heavily based on the search engine. That is going to be it. There's so many articles. There's over 5,000 that's well, search engine, and we're also going to open it up to other writers. We're going to go through and have people, uh, well, just write, but we're going to vet them thoroughly. We're going to have different experts in different areas start writing things. I can't keep up with everything. I produced a great base, and we're planning on it continuing after the Lord takes me home, whenever that is. Hopefully it'll be a lot more years to go, but you never know. We're just trying to get everything done right. I've also been going through for the donors. I have been going through meticulously, and I mean meticulously, uh, pennies, where everything is going. And I've reduced costs on CARM by close to $1,000 a month from going through and just finding little things and just going over and over, calling up companies and saying, we have this going with you, like a phone system, can you reduce it this way when we remove these features and things like that. And that's what we're doing. We're honing and we're pruning, and we're trying to use the Lord's money as efficiently as possible. That's one thing. Now, I don't know if we have any calls, because one of the things I did today was spend some time on the phone system, the phone numbers. And so hopefully everything is still going to work fine. And if you were to call the number 877 207 2276, hopefully it'll work. And maybe Laura or Charlie, one of you could just call that number and just test it to make sure it works. And if it doesn't, then we have an alternate number you can call to get into to talk to me. And I'm trying to find what that alternate number is. I have so many windows and so many things going on. It's like, where did I put that? So there's that. There's that. And now I can't find it. Anyway, I'll have Keith write it out in the text there, and I'll put it in another place. No, I found it. There it is. I found it. So anyway, give me a call. Let's test if the new phone arrangement. Everything should be the same. It's just we did some trimming and trying to make sure that everything's working fine. So we're just trying to do. So we got a call coming in, and we'll find out if it's working. I'm gonna drink a coffee. Hold on. Oh yes. Oh, I love coffee. Love it, as in marriage kind of love. Coffee is so good. So there you go. And like I said, if you are interested in some new features, some interesting features on CARM, potential features, please consider letting us know. You can just send an email at info@carm.org. So Keith, did it work? Did someone call? I saw a line coming in, and maybe he's just verifying. I don't know. All right, and they can let me know in the private chat there. Phone line works. Good. Phone line works. All right. Good. Thanks. Hey, I didn't mess it up. But I'm trying not to. I'm trying to do everything right. If you want, you can also email me. That is easy to do. Just go to carm.org and excuse me, go to your email. Got so many things in my head here. Just go to email. Email is at info@carm.org, info@carm.org or I mean, not forward slash. Man, I got too many things going on. Just put in the subject line radio comment or radio question, info@carm.org. All right, I was noticing a caller was coming in. Hopefully everything's going to be fine. So I had to go pick somebody up. I generally, yesterday that is, and yet generally I don't do any ministry work on Sundays. I just relax, watch TV, run an errand for the wife, or whatever, and just kind of relax as a day. Go to church, and a good time at church yesterday. A friend and I went, and my wife went too. That's good. And so sometimes when I am driving someplace to pick someone up, and I did that, I picked someone up to run an errand and stuff like that. Um, Sometimes during the drive, I'll get online and just find a chat room, and I did. And I went into this Discord room called Faith Breakers. Their goal is to destroy the faith of people. And I said, "Well, good. I like that. I like Faith Breakers. That means I can break your guys' faith in your atheism." And let's just say they didn't like my attitude, that I turned the tables on them. And after a while, they muted me because they couldn't handle my arguments. And one guy, he says, "Matt, you're not being polite." Well, because I said it's easy to destroy your atheist arguments, and of course that was somehow an insult. He says, "You're not being polite. You're not sticking to arguments." I said, "Me? I've asked you several questions, and you just don't even ask the questions." And it was good. It was a good discussion. And then this guy said, he said, "There's a logical problem with the Trinity. that everybody knows about. It's called LPT for short, LPT, logical problem of the Trinity. And I said, well, send it to me. I've seen several, and I've answered them. It's easy. It's not a problem. Usually, what happens is they confuse the is of identity and is of predication, and they don't understand the doctrine of the Trinity properly. And then when they do with it, the problem with indexicals, and then they misunderstand how they're related in the perichoretic relationship. And I'll say, just show me, show it to me. Write it the best you can and send it to me, and I'll respond to it. He goes, I don't have to. I don't want to. He goes, I don't care to bother with you. And I said, you're the one who brought it up. Why don't you do it? Why don't you, show it to me and I'll respond to it. And he says, I'm not going to waste my time with you. I said, that's because you can't. You don't know it. And they didn't like that. So, with the issue of atheism, the faith that they have, and I showed how they have faith. Because they said, we don't have any faith. I go, yes, you do. You don't prove everything. You don't use logic and evidence to verify everything you do. You have belief that things are going to work out. You can't verify everything. And they just refuse to admit that's a form of faith. They just don't like that because they're so arrogant. These guys I met last night, they're so arrogant. We don't have any faith. Oh, give me a break. And I said, look, science has presuppositions that you assume on faith are universally true. And there was this pause in the room. And they said, that's not true. I said, yeah, it is. I said, for example, you believe, but you can't prove, but you believe that the laws of logic are universally applicable. You can't prove that they are without presupposing their validity. So you have faith that they're true everywhere, but you can't prove that they are. That's what the scientific method presupposes. Also, the presupposition within the scientific method is called uniformitarianism, which is the basic idea, or materialistic consistency. The idea is that the universe operates the same way everywhere, and it always has. Well, it's just, you can't prove that's the case. It's an assumption. A third assumption that you have is that the scientists who are supposedly presenting their information will do it accurately. And I said, so science is a philosophical a philosophical approach to learning about the material world based upon assumptions that you can't prove are true. That's faith. Well, let me just say that it didn't go over well with them. You could hear the crashing, of their smooth atheist engine, cranking and belts slipping and wheels rattling in the background. When that's not true. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. And then this one guy proposed fallibilism, which I can get to in a bit. What he said, fallibilism is true, and I'll talk about that a little bit. But I've got a break coming up, so we'll do that after we get to the caller, and maybe talk about this error of fallibilism that this guy was holding to. We'll get to Steve from South Carolina after the break. Please stay tuned. The number is 877-207-2276. Be right back.
Each word is a testimony.
When I needed rescue, Jesus, you came through. Oh, in my hardest season, when I needed rescue, oh, Jesus, you came through.
And his word is always true on the Truth Network.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager, Learning the Lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It started off as a normal day. I felt fine when I arrived at the plant.
Ruth Junius's life was about to change.
Then I dropped my keys. They kept slipping out of my hand. My arm felt numb. A coworker asked me if I was okay, and I couldn't speak. I started to get scared.
Ruth was having a stroke. People around her weren't sure what to do.
They thought I should go home or lie down, but I knew something was very wrong. I wrote 911 on a piece of paper with my other hand and someone called for me.
Because everyone acted quickly, doctors at the hospital were able to give Ruth treatment that started to reverse the symptoms.
Within a few minutes, I was talking again. I didn't know a thing about stroke before I had one. Now I make sure that my friends and family know all the signs of stroke so they'll get help fast if they need it.
No stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. Call 1-800-352-9424 for more information. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, National Institutes of Health.
You know, honey, I think I deserve some kind of reward.
Here, have a pickle.
Thanks. After all, I did find us the perfect house.
Have another pickle.
Thank you.
But remember, then I found out how much our house was going to cost.
Yeah, but then I found us the perfect mortgage. Got any more of these?
Sure, help yourself. But then I found out our perfect house had radon.
Ooh.
The stuff you can't see, smell, or taste. And it's radioactive. And it's the second leading cause of lung cancer. Some dream house.
Yeah.
I need 2 pickles.
True. But then I found a phone number to call 1-800-SOS-RADON, where you can get all the information you need to test and fix a home with a radon problem.
You did.
Yeah, and then I found out we were going to have a baby. So, you know, your study, it'd be a perfect room for my mother.
Right. Now I need a phone number to fix a home with a mother-in-law problem.
Hey.
I'm in a pickle. Did you say baby?
Do we have any ice cream?
Protect your family from radon. Make your home safer. Call 1-800-SOS.
It's Matt Slick Live, taking your calls at 877-207-2276. Here's Matt Slick.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the show. If you want to give me a call, all you have to do is dial 877-207-2276, and you can leave a message if you want on email. Do that by sending an email to info@carm.org. And put the subject line radio comment or radio question. Let's get to Steve from North Carolina. Steve, welcome. You are on the air.
Hi, Matt. I was calling about 1 Corinthians 15, verse 26.
Okay.
Just wanted to get your understanding of that. Last enemy that will be abolished is death. And you know, you probably get some context in there, but it just seems too simple of a sentence for me to take it just the way it's stated. Can you explain it to me at all?
Yes, it's prophetic because it's dealing with the order of resurrection in the context of 1 Corinthians 15, which begins with the nature, extent of the gospel, the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. And since Christ has been raised from the dead, it's the proof that his sacrifice was perfect, his sacrifice was sufficient and acceptable to God the Father. So therefore, we are all going to be resurrected, those who put their faith and trust in Christ. And so when he goes on and he's talking about this, he says, Christ is the first fruits after those who are Christ at his coming. Then the end comes when he hands over the kingdom of God to the Father, when he has abolished all rule, all authority, and all power. And this is all the wicked places and the wicked things are all taken care of. And in that wickedness is the result of all sin. He must reign until he's put all enemies under his feet. The last enemy that will be abolished is death. Death is the separation of man and God. That's what the spiritual manifestation is. That's Isaiah 59:2. That has guaranteed to be removed by the death and resurrection of Christ. So that's guaranteed. Okay. So
that's what I thought. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it seemed more like that. Like it just has to do with we are no longer going to be separated from God in eternity because we're saved now. We don't have that death. We have a new life, not only here but beyond here. And that's what you're saying. Is that correct?
That's right. That's it. And he's going to remove all of that associated with death. It's gone. So we're going to be forever with him. Forever.
Yeah.
Oh,
it seems.
wonderful.
Yeah, I know. And it's like when you can just accept that for what that says, you know, that we are going to be with him forever.
Mm-hmm.
When we pass on from here, it really is a passing on. Yeah, our bodies die, but we go on, and I don't understand a lot of times why so many Christians are so they're so afraid of death. Like my brothers and sisters are just like they're so afraid of it. They don't want to die. They don't want their kids to, no one wants their kids to die, but it's like I said once to my brother, hey, wouldn't it be great if Christ came tonight and we all, he takes us to heaven if that were to happen when he came. And he's like, oh man, he's like, I don't know. Then my daughter wouldn't get to experience growing up. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Where is she going to be?
Yeah, well, people think in humanistic terms, and when they do that, because they don't really understand who God really is, and they end up with things like you'll have marriage in heaven and 72 virgins in heaven and things like this, where human sexuality and human comforts are the standard of what is good, as though their standard is it. Right. It's just they haven't encountered the true God. So yeah.
Right.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks, Matt. Appreciate your help.
Hey, brother. No problem, man. God bless.
All right. God bless.
You too. All right. Now let's get to Jermaine. Hey, Jermaine. Welcome, brother. You're on the air. Are you there?
Hey, Matt. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Psalm 121, verse 7 to 8, where it talks about God going before you. A lot of people have been bringing up Charlie Kirk and whether or not he prayed before he went to his location, and maybe that was why something happened. And I think that's ludicrous, but I'm just bringing it up. But isn't it possible that you can still pray to go to your destination and something could still happen to you, but it doesn't mean God's not with you?
Right, of course. People in the Old Testament all over the place were persecuted. People in the New Testament were persecuted. Stephen was stoned to death in Acts chapter 7. So we know that varying forms of persecution are going to come to us. Charlie Kirk was an evangelical Christian. He's with the Lord right now. And we can't look at, for example, Psalm 121:7, the Lord will protect you from all evil. He will keep your soul. We can't look at it as this is a hard, fast rule. All kinds of bad things don't happen to you. No, it's not true. And because Jesus says, blessed are you when they speak evil of you. Because this is an evil that God allows to occur. So different contexts of different things mean different things in different contexts. So God will protect us from all evil if he desires to, and if he wants to, he will do that to varying degrees. And I'm sure he's done that in ways that we don't even comprehend. But then there's times when persecution is something that will glorify him and help the individual and help other individuals. And so I think that's the case with Charlie Kirk, because, the Democratic Party now is bleeding members. The true character of their filth in so many areas on the left is coming out when they're rejoicing in the murder of a guy because they don't like his ideas. They want to kill him for his ideas, which is reprehensible. And, plus there have been rallies all across the world in different countries for him. Something's happening. So would this have happened if he hadn't been murdered? No, probably not. So God has his plans. He lets things happen to us for a greater reason, and we need to submit all things and all scriptures to the sovereignty of God to understand. All right?
Okay, it makes sense to me, and I do see a spiritual movement that seems to be taking place. So, it seems like, and I'm not saying I agree with every single part of his theology, but I do believe he was a believer, and what happened was just ridiculously uncalled for. So,
yeah.
I think that a lot more people are going to be inspired to do what he did, and maybe take it to even greater lengths, because we do need to have discussions with people. That used to be America, where you can sit down with somebody you disagree with, talk it out, and whether you like it or not, it's just you have a conversation.
Yeah. Now, the intolerant people on the left don't want that free conversation. They want to punish you for the freedom and expression of ideas, unless it agrees with them. This is why everybody should read the novel 1984, written by an atheist, but it is brilliant. And in there, the thought police are present. You're not allowed your opinions publicly. You have to follow the status quo. That's exactly what the Democratic Party wants. They promote empathy and then attack you without empathy. They promote peace, but they say peace, but they actually promote violence. And there's all kinds of clips coming out from all kinds of stupid, moronic political leaders on the left, wanting to hurt Trump, persecute him, destroy, shoot, maim, him and other Christians. It's bad. It's the hypocrisy is huge, and people are seeing it all over the place. Anyway, okay, all right.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
All right, buddy. God bless. That was Jermaine. We have wide open lines. Why don't you give me a call? 877-207-2276. We'll be right back.
Here are the contest rules for the Truth Network. Prizes won are not transferable, redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other prize. All prizes must be redeemed from the station within 30 days of winning. Only one prize per household from any station of Truth Broadcasting within any 30-day period. The rest of our contest rules are listed under the About Us link at our website, truthnetwork.com. Thanks for playing and listening to the Truth Network.
AI or pray to handle those tough situations in life. There's hope when you look up.
This is True Commentary with Stu Epperson, author and host of Truth Talk Live.
So often the clamor and chaos of life, we turn to ChatGPT, we turn to AI, artificial intelligence, to deal with our worries, our challenges, to solve our problems. Let me challenge you, believer, to first stop, drop, and pray. Let's try pray first. Philippians 4:6 says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication. Make your request known to God, and his peace will follow. You see, we have access to God through Jesus Christ to call upon his name, to call unto him, to seek him out, and to ask him for advice, for wisdom, and for solutions. So go to pray before you go to AI and watch what he does.
Join Stu on radio, social media, and his daily Truth Talk Live podcast. Learn more at truthnetwork.com.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips that you plan in advance, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends for which you make a group chat 3 months before so that nobody or anything is missing? Or your daughter's first birthday party. You planned it with such dedication that instead of the first date felt like our 15s. The same way you plan each detail for those moments. Start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You give life. You are love. You bring light to the darkness. You give hope. You restore every heart that is broken.
The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. The righteous person may have many troubles, but God is...
It's Matt Slick Live, taking your calls at 877-207-2276. Here's Matt Slick.
Everybody, welcome back to the show. If you want to give me a call, you can, 877-207-2276. So what I wanted to talk about, fallibilism, was my conversation with an atheist who said he was a fallibilist. Now, this is an interesting position. I'm going to go into it a little bit and teach you a little bit of philosophy, just a little bit. Fallibilism. That's actually a term. It's a position. And he says he's a fallibilist. Well, what is that? Oh, it's the view that absolute knowledge and certainty are not possible, and that all beliefs are subject to error. Everything you believe could be wrong. So it's an attitude where you try and not be too sure about anything. It's a kind of like, it's like similar to skepticism. Okay. So, all right. So then I asked him, well, if fallibilism is true, you can't know things for certainty, then how do you know your fallibilist position is the right one? See, fallibilism undermines itself. It has a logical problem of its own testability. How then could you justify the position of fallibilism as being the right position to hold if you can't know if it's true? to me, it was just like shooting fish in a barrel. This is why I said to the guy, I said, it's so easy to defeat these atheist arguments. And they didn't like that. Atheists do not like it when you easily confound them and easily refute them. They're the ones who like beating up on Christians. And I know what that particular room was and where it is located on the internet. And I go in there occasionally. And then they all gang up on me, try and destroy my faith. And they don't. They can't succeed. And I say, well, how about if I asked you guys questions? And when on the rare occasions when they agree to that, I just paint them into a corner. And they don't want to accept the idea that their positions are often faith-based. They're not based on truth, but on their faith. And they can't justify even the axioms of what they assume. And that's one of the things I said was everybody has a starting point that you can't prove is the right starting point, but you assume it. Everybody does that. It's called, you have to make certain assumptions. And you have faith that your assumptions are the proper starting place. And he said, no, it's not true. I said, no, it is true. You have faith that the idea of the law of identity, that something is what it is and is not what it is not, is always true everywhere. But you can't prove that. So you believe that it is true. And if they make the mistake of saying, well, it's based on how the property of the universe works, I can say, how do you know how the properties of the universe works? Among other things. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Anyway, let's get to Lisa from Virginia. Lisa, welcome. You're on the air.
Yes, I'm very interested in the Watchmen on the Wall. Can you talk to me about that?
They are sentinels. They're guards upon the walls in various cities to keep watch and sound the alarm. That's what it is for.
Right,
okay?
But have we not given the duty of the Watchmen on the Wall to people that do not believe in God?
Well, it depends. Depends on what we mean by that. If we are talking about the government,
that's why I was asking you what you meant. Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about the government as watching against nuclear attack, and it's a watchman for that, well then, yeah, because no individual Christian can do that. So there are different degrees of what we might say is it. But biblically, it's a representation of vigilance and responsibility, and that we are to not let our guard down. We are all to be watchmen on the wall, one form or another.
Well, don't you think the church is supposed to be doing that?
Yes.
They have given this up to people who are not godly. And this has really been bothering me because I feel like that's one of the first things that God really started talking to me about. And he just sort of talks more and more about it. And we're looking at the culture and we're seeing this happen. And I just can't understand why there's not more talk about repentance, because it's just like you get saved and everything's fine, you're forgiven. And because we have not really been taught a whole lot on repentance, and this is so terribly important. I just don't think things are going to change unless we're taught more about these things.
Well,
do you agree?
Yeah, you are. You're tooting my horn. I sometimes have been known to complain about the status of the Christian church as a whole. That's not teaching biblical theology.
Oh, no, I can't believe that. You're such a nice person.
And
I talk about this all the time, and I think people just roll their eyes. And, to me, the church is responsible. Someone once said that the front page of the newspaper was the report card of the church. And I find that very interesting.
Well, yeah, there's a degree to that. The report card of the church should be the scriptures themselves. How are we compared to that? Are we doing well? Or, Luke 9:23, we're picking up our crosses daily and following after Christ. Our own crosses, not somebody else's, but our own on a regular basis on daily. Are we doing that? Are the pastors, for example, preaching politics from the pulpit? They should be. They absolutely should be. So they need to be doing that.
Well, I left the church about 10 years ago because I could not support what they weren't doing.
That's interesting. Well, that's a wide open statement, has logical issues with it. You mean they were not, what they were doing was ignoring certain things in Scripture. That's what you mean, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why we are where we are, as far as I'm concerned. My background is
I agree.
Social work and, being interested in the culture and everything. And I find it very interesting that the church has not really gone where people are. And they're talking about Charlie Kirk going where the people are. And I find that very interesting.
Well, yeah, that's what Jesus did. He went to where the drunkards were and the gluttons, and they called him the drunkard, and so you associate with them. Well, that's because he went where the sinners were. I have a resume for Jesus on my website. I put a resume up for him as he's trying to get a job at a local church, and the conversation.
I think I've heard that or something like that. Yeah.
And the woman pastor and the guy don't want him on because they're reading to his resume what he says and how biblical he is, and they don't want anything to do with it. And, it's just a commentary, a humorous commentary on how things are in America. But the Christian church needs to really double down and start teaching biblical theology. Theology is like a bad word. I've heard so many people say we don't need seminaries. They call them cemeteries. We don't need advanced theology. We just need Jesus. And it's dumb. It's just ignorance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's bad.
But I can understand they're saying that when the seminaries have really turned and gone woke, a lot of them.
A lot of them have. That's true.
Yeah, I know.
But that doesn't mean that all of them are bad. And so then they commit what's called the fallacy of composition. The car is blue, therefore everything in the car is blue. The one part represents the whole. And so they'll say you have these bad seminaries over there, so therefore all seminaries are bad. And it's just logically fallacious to talk like that. And they're not even educated enough to know that they're not even educated enough. It's really bad.
Christians aren't helped to develop their discernment. They're really set up for...
The church is set up for failure.
They're just thinking, how do I know? Just like in the very beginning, I just don't think a lot of Christians realize that Adam and Eve got the knowledge of good and evil, but they just couldn't tell which was which. That was not a very good thing to get.
Yeah,
because they weren't tied into God, who knew everything.
Yes, and there's theological reasons why we could speculate about why that is the case, but. It's almost as though the Christian church is being set up for failure because it doesn't seem to be equipping the Christians for the work of ministry. And this is a very serious thing. So,
well, that's what ministers have not done. They have not picked certain people and trained them and made to train others. It's sort of like the Montessori school, I think. You educate the kids and then they help other kids learn, and it works with the teacher. And this is such a failing that people have not been discipled.
Yes, I agree.
I'm sorry, I just go after the ministers, but a lot of them haven't been taught either. I was listening to a gentleman that said he was, and he's on the Truth Channel, and he said, I was a minister for 25 years before I accepted Christ.
Yeah, that's the case for some people. Yeah, and I get that.
That's honest. I love honesty. Yeah.
Well, different people have different conversion stories and different ways of expressing them. But there's a break. So, we could talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about it some more after the break. But we got to go. Okay, Lisa? All right. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
All right. God bless.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Folks, all right. Last segment of the hour coming up. If you want to call me, 877-207-2276. Be right back.
First Corinthians 13:7 states, "Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance." God died so he can give you the ability to face situations with hope and endurance.
He's shining over us.
And that's the voice of truth.
spent a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain and mud. In 95, I helped tow your moving trailer. And in 09, it was sparks from me, your chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
AI or pray to handle those tough situations in life. There's hope when you look up.
This is True Commentary with Stu Epperson, author and host of Truth Talk Live.
So often the clamor and chaos of life, we turn to ChatGPT, we turn to AI, artificial intelligence, to deal with our worries, our challenges, to solve our problems. Let me challenge you, believer, to first stop, drop, and pray. Let's try pray first. Philippians 4:6 says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication. Make your request known to God, and his peace will follow. You see, we have access to God through Jesus Christ to call upon his name, to call unto him, to seek him out, and to ask him for advice, for wisdom, and for solutions. So go to pray before you go to AI and watch what he does.
Join Stu on radio, social media, and his daily Truth Talk Live podcast. Learn more at truthnetwork.com.
Each word is a testimony. His word is always true on the Truth Network.
I see you finally got a new helmet.
I did. Bought it cheap online. Follow me. We'll turn off here.
I'm right behind you.
Watch the cars. They can be crazy.
Daddy! No! Are you okay? Somebody do something!
Was this young man hit by a car?
Yes, and his helmet is smashed. It's a brand new helmet.
It's probably a fake. Fakes cause real harm. You're smart. Buy smart. Brought.
It's Matt Slick Live, taking your calls at 877-207-2276. Here's Matt Slick.
All right, and welcome back to the show. I'm a little bit torn between discussing the issue of the Christian church being set for failure in some areas and or the idea of going over some of the failures of the secular realm in philosophical endeavors. Maybe I'll do the last one because I think it might be a little bit more interesting because it might be new to people when they don't understand certain things, new ideas. So I've got a list of on my notes and on my philosophy page, which is 109 pages. And I have, let's see, 100. Wow, look at that. 100. And why is that jump to that? 199 things, literally 199 topics. Like ethical subjectivism, substance, stance independence, just stuff. And what I did was I got into a discussion with some people a while back, and it triggered a research project on my part. And the research, that's way too many. That's why I'm going to start that over. That's why it's so high. Let me do this. Restart at 1. There we go. Now it's not 199. It should be about 150. Yeah, that's right. There we go. 160 actually. All right. So what I did was I started this document, and I like things quick and slick. I like things that are brief, because if I'm going to be doing debates, research, things like this, I want to know something quickly what the issue is, whether good or bad. And so I have well over 150 terms that have been introduced to me by varying atheists and agnostics over the years who have, how do I say this, brought up different ideas in order to replace Christianity, to destroy the faith in God. And not every discussion is due to that, and not every topic is that, but there are subtopics within broader topics. And so sometimes some of the things that I have, for example, is abstract object, which is an abstract object is an object that does not exist in any particular time or place, but rather is a type of thing. And so some call them axioms and things like this. They're possible and actual patterns that are grounded in arrangement of particles. I get into all this stuff. And so what I've been doing is, for example, I'll just go research what are the problems with abstract objects. They do not have direct empirical correlation. They are by definition non-physical. And it goes on. And I have stuff on aesthetic realism, altruism, analytic constructivism, where I've actually gone in, and this is all alphabetized, gone in and tried to just analyze. I think this would be good to produce on the CARM site as a single page. Of course, it would be humongous, but I have a way of producing things like that make it easier to use. Aesthetic idealism, for example, which states that there is no God, no supernatural, and that reality is comprised of mental functions. Therefore, reality is made up of ideas. There are people who argue this. Someone might come to me and say, Matt, I'm an atheistic idealist. Well, I don't have 150 of these things all memorized. So I go to my notes, look it up, because there are not too many new ones that are coming out anymore. After a while, you hear everything. And I say, okay, so let me get this straight. And I'd say, I'm going to my notes. And so you're saying that there is no God, no supernatural, that reality is comprised of mental functions, right? And say, yes, okay. And I say, well, there's problems with that. And I say, how do you avoid solipsism, which is the idea that everything exists in your mind, and your mind, it may be the only mind that exists, and all other things you're thinking exist outside of you don't really. It's called solipsism or solipsism. But so, I go through that. Or there's anti-realism. It challenges the idea that objective reality does not exist independently of human understanding. It teaches that reality is a product of human thought and perception. That reality exists independently of human knowledge and experience is unknowable. So, in other words, you can't really know anything about the real world. That's just your ideas. And then get this, there's different types of anti-realism, idealism, constructivism, nominalism, relativism. I'm not going to get into all that stuff. And so the thing is that they do this. And last night, this guy, one of the guys, brought up this idea of axioms as just truths that exist. And an axiom is a statement or proposition which is regarded as being established, accepted, or self-evidently true. And so I ask questions. Why are axioms just accepted as being true without requiring proof? That's an issue of faith. If they say they're self-evidently true, then they are saying that they exist within the realm, their validation is within the realm of logic. What must be the case in order for the laws of logic to have their universality and their effect upon the validation of axiomatic truths? And I'll ask these guys these questions. And we get these really good discussions. This is what I do, believe it or not, sometimes for entertainment. I tell my wife about this, and then she gives me this weird look. I've only seen it on my wife. I've not seen it on other wives, because I don't live with them. But my wife occasionally will give me an expression that, it's like an onion trying to figure out a galaxy, and she's staring at me, which it looks like along with that, she's thinking I have issues. And that's kind of a combo look I get from her sometimes. And then I just point behind her. When she turns around, I just leave because, there's no, that's it. Let's get to Tony from Charlotte, North Carolina. Tony, welcome. You're on the air.
Hey, man, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Just blabbing. All right.
Hey, listen. So I have a good one for you.
Okay.
So a Christian.
Yeah.
Christian, does that derive from Christ? Is that Christ-like? Does that mean Christ-like?
Yes, it means a Christ follower. Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. So a Christian is a Christ. He's a Christ follower.
Right.
So now, being like Christ is you shouldn't have. How can I put it? You shouldn't be meaning, or you shouldn't have bad taste in your mouth against certain people, or you should be Christ-like. But Christ was good, right? Everything was good about him, right?
But Jesus was upset with the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and he called them names. Okay, so
he called them names.
Yeah, you whitewash sepulchres. You're your father, the devil. Yeah. So if we're going to be Christ-like, that's Christ-like, isn't it?
That's Christ-like. But today, speaking of now times, we shouldn't dislike or even hate people. Am I right?
I don't know.
If we're planning on, if we believe in heaven and we want to reach that higher place, and once we leave this place, then we should be of good and not hate and dislike, right?
Well, yes, but Psalm 5:5, Psalm 11:5, God hates all who do iniquity. So, okay. And Jesus is God in flesh, and he obviously did not approve of and was very negative towards a lot of people. Okay. So, did Jesus say negative things? Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. And so I'm using my the new site right now, which has not been released. Wow, is it fast?
Right.
So he calls people hypocrites, blind guides, you foolish and blind men. Let's see, whitewashed tombs, hypocrites, lawless, serpents, brood of vipers, etc. He goes on. So.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so the reason why I'm asking, and I'm talking about Christ-like, is because I try to like, and I like everyone because I want to be Christ-like.
Good,
okay?
Good. Yeah, we to love our enemies, and be patient and kind to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Uh-huh.
Yes. So I have a problem, and it's like, okay, so you're confusing me because you talk about. Listen, hear me out.
I do that to people.
I listen to you. I listen to you just about every day when I get off right. But
All
here's
right.
the problem. So I'm saying to myself, why does he dislike? And you even one day called them demonic. Why does he dislike Democrats?
Oh, because the Democratic Party is the pro-slavery party, the pro-kill the baby in the womb party, the pro-LGBTQ party, which is ungodly. Well, we should condemn the ungodly. We should point out and condemn ungodliness and call it out for what it is. So these things are wrong, and no true Christian should be a member of the Democratic Party. Okay, period. They shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, does that mean we hate Democrats? No. Does it mean we want to see them injured? Not at all. We want to see them come to faith. It doesn't mean, I'm not saying the Republican Party is perfect, okay? I'm not a Republican either. But the Democrats they're the party of Jim Crow laws, slavery, the Ku Klux Klan, abortion, homosexuality, brainwashing, socialism. It's horrible. No Christian should belong to that organization.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And like you said, the Republicans aren't perfect, but
that's for sure.
they you know what? We should just love one another.
That's right. I do.
What I and try our best not to talk down on anyone or
I talk down on Democrats. Yeah, and and the socialists, and the leftists, and the communists, and the Marxists.
But we got to be Christ-like.
Yeah, just like Jesus says, "You whitewash sepulchres, you hypocrites. You're your father, the devil." They pointed out what was wrong. When they go against God, we need to point it out as Christians. Now, for example, here's something though. We had a long story short, because we only got less than a minute. A transsexual person was a friend of one of my daughters. And my daughter said, "Can this person come over for Christmas?" I said, "Sure, come on over." And we rewrapped a gift for this person, and I didn't accost that person. And only 2 or 3 months later did I mention the issue of our faith and Christianity. We loved that person, but we don't approve of that kind of behavior.
Right. We don't approve
Right.
of it. Yeah.
No.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
So I love the
Man,
Democrats.
I just wanted to.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but the Democratic Party is just evil. Yeah.
Stop it, Matt. Don't
evil.
Just talk good about them.
No, I can't. It's an evil party that needs.
To.
No, they
You
need to
have
die in a
to,
vine. The Democratic Party needs to go
yeah.
by the way of horse boogies. Let it go away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Matt, it was good talking.
All right.
To you.
All right. I like talking to you too. So call back. All right, brother. God bless. Okay.
All right.
Hey, folks. Well, there you go. I said it, and that's what I believe. And at least, well, I'm alive to say it still. Hey, we'll be back tomorrow by God's grace. Stay tuned tomorrow. Okay. See you. Bye. Whoops. Okay. Whew. Test 1 2. Can you hear me, Charlie?
Sounds good, yes. Yeah, I highly recommend your article, The History of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
That's a little thumbnail sketch of their background and a timeline, a good timeline of some of their actions. Yeah.
Yep. Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. It's I seriously, I know I upset people, but yeah, whatever. I said to what was I last week? I actually was talking to some more atheists, just spewing hatred and bigotry, trying to sound like they weren't, but they were. I could see through it, and I was cornering them politely, saying, "Look, this is wrong. You shouldn't be saying that. You have no basis for this. Where's your documentation? Where's this? Where's that?" And I kept doing this to them, and they increasingly got angry to the point where they muted me so I couldn't talk because they couldn't answer me. And then when they finally let me back on, and they told me how I was supposed to behave. I said, "Are you going to Charlie Kirk me now? Is that it? Okay, you're going to silence me? Is that how you operate?" And boy, they did not like that at all.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, if it's true and it really did happen and it's going to happen, praise God. If it's not, we're going to find out. And then we can say to him, "You obviously got that wrong. Let's find out." I hope he's right. It's within my worldview to say that I don't understand everything in Scripture and may have a few things wrong, and that Jesus certainly can talk to people, so I can't say it can't happen. I hope it's right. I'd rather not go through the pains and sufferings of death, but go through the rapture and go to heaven. That's right. Didn't have to deal with Charlie anymore. I mean, come on, it's been it. And then my wife wouldn't deal with me anymore either. It's so.
You're always going to find people that say tomorrow is the end of the world and rapture. And one of those people one day will be correct.
That's right. One's going to be right. That's right.
Eventually.
Yeah. Eventually.
Yep. For anybody wanting to study a little bit more about your articles on atheism, I'm putting the link to your page where you've got a good number of articles on how to deal with atheists on different issues.
Yeah, lots.
Quite a few articles there.
Oh yeah. Yep, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot there. a lot. How many articles did I write? I'm gonna do a quick count. Okay. Now, but then debates. I won't include the debates. Oh, I got to reformat that. I won't. I'll exclude debates and just do the articles. Okay. When I went to it, it said it couldn't be reached. And,
Yeah, that happened to me too.
Okay.
It was only for a minute.
All right. By the way, the Cloudflare statistics on CARM are much higher than Google.
Wow.
Much. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Really?
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking maybe we have to manually do those things once a day. Just go through and manually do stuff. Get rid of Hootsuite and just be in charge. I don't know. It's just a thought. By the way, I've written how many articles? 135 on atheism. Okay. So yeah, you don't know.
You know, I may have been posting too fast. Some of the platforms don't let me post quickly.
They don't do
Let
that,
me-
huh?
Okay. How about that? I just put it in. I just put it in again. One of them. How's that? Did it go through? Amazing. Okay. Aha.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That reminds me. Does anybody know Twilio? How to use it? So if anybody knows how to do, anybody out there knows how to use Twilio, let me know. Okay. Yeah, in my yeah, when we're yeah. Let's end the show. I'll tell you a couple things.
Okay. Yeah, I got a couple of questions for you too.
All right, end the show. Hey everybody, see you tomorrow.